Hi, my name's Alex. I'm a teacher, senior leader, and EdTech and AI consultant. Welcome to this Secondary Teachers 5-minute CPD drop. This is a collaboration between STEM Learning UK and the Good Future Foundation. We brought together a group of secondary school teachers to form a focus group to discuss AI in the classroom, the implications, the hopes and fears, and what this new technology means for everyday lessons. From these focus group meetings, some really interesting themes emerged. There was ethics and safeguarding. Teachers wanted to develop frameworks for ethical AI use in supervised and unsupervised learning environments, with the emphasis on critical evaluation of AI outputs and safeguarding considerations. Secondary school students are using AI increasingly at home in the unsupervised environment away from school. Which leads us to ask another question: how do we know they're using it in a safe and ethical way? Firstly, we need to understand the different settings. So there's the supervised and the unsupervised. The supervised setting is normally the school, where they are being supervised by a responsible adult, aka the teacher. And in that setting, they're exposed to technologies that are safe, and they're guarded by the school's firewalls, for example. Unsupervised, on the other hand, are completely different. These environments tend to be at home or away from school, where the student is not being supervised by a teacher. They may be getting supervised remotely or partially by their parents, but most of the time they're working on their own, whether that's accessing social media apps, gaming apps, or large language models. They are working in isolation away from the school setting, unsupervised. This has implications because it means that students may not fully understand what data they're sharing or how it's being used. There's no immediate adult to correct inaccuracies or challenge inappropriate content that may go unchallenged. There are a few safeguards to ensure ethical or safe use, especially with tools driven by commercial or opaque algorithms. In short, without supervision, students are more vulnerable to misinformation, exploitation, and harm, and they have less opportunities to develop critical digital literacy. So what can we do in school to make sure that when students leave school or go home, they can use AI in a safe and reliable way? First, let's have a look at how students are typically using AI at home in the unsupervised environment. Of course, there's the big three social media apps. TikTok, it uses AI-powered recommendation algorithms, facial filters, text-to-video generators, and content moderation. Snapchat, my AI chatbot, OpenAI integration, uses filters and augmented reality to look at powered facial mapping. And Instagram uses Reels and algorithms to send students more of their preferences and what they've liked and followed. All of this is subtle artificial intelligence sewn into the fabric of the devices and the platforms that they're using. But AI doesn't just exist within social media. It also exists within large language models, so LLMs. And this is increasingly becoming a problem with plagiarism and authenticity of student work, where students are being set homework tasks, essays, revision tasks, and they're going away from school and they're doing this in their own time, and they're using large language models, sometimes, not always, to do their homework for them. Children are already interacting with AI on a daily, on TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Alexa, and countless other apps. If we don't speak to them about AI, someone else or an algorithm will. Speaking about AI means giving students space to talk about where they encounter it, exploring how it shapes what they see, hear, and believe, building critical conversations about privacy, fairness, and trust, helping them recognize AI's presence even when it's invisible. Laura Knight is the founder of Sapio Limited, specializing in digital strategy and innovation. Laura is recognized for her expertise in AI digital skills training and strategic technology development. Laura's views are important because she understands both the practical realities of classrooms and the strategic demands of digital transformation, which means her perspective helps ensure that AI is used ethically, inclusively, and in ways that genuinely enhance teaching and learning.
So I think the first thing to reflect on when we're thinking about inappropriate content is the fact that there will be lots of youngsters who are using generative AI, perhaps without realizing it, and in many cases without being supervised by adults. And their first experiences of AI may well be in completely unregulated or unsupervised spaces. So let's not assume naivety or kind of inexperience. That's probably not the case. So I think we have to first of all be very aware that that space can be really challenging for us to help young people navigate, and a strong internal compass and a really clear idea about what to do when it comes to resilience and dealing with challenge is super important there.
AI shouldn't just be something that teachers and students use, it needs to become something that they can critique. Which brings me to my final point. We often hear that we should teach critical thinking skills, but what do we need to make students critical of? What are we asking them to critique? This is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Here's 3 great practical ideas you can use in a secondary school classroom to get your students thinking and challenging AI perceptions. The first one, is it AI or fake? You can use images or you can use text and get them to decipher what it is that makes it human content or AI generated content. Increasingly, this is becoming pretty difficult to do. But what this skill does is it enables them to critically evaluate the source and start to spot some of the things that might infiltrate their work if they present this as their own. The next activity is who sees my data? Get students to list or draw the different ways that AI interacts with their everyday lives, whether that's social media or large language models or learning platforms like Duolingo, and get them to list the ways that the AI interact. And it's fascinating to see the surface level of what they understand and what they don't understand and how these AI tools are mediated into their everyday practice. And that can spur some really rich conversations at classroom level about how AI is embedded, either visibly or invisibly, within these apps and tools that they're using. The final activity is my personal favorite. It's an oracy-based task called a concept cartoon. With a concept cartoon, you have 4 characters, and each character within the cartoon represents a different set of opinions on an AI-mediated topic. So, for example, how does AI train my data? Alex might say, oh, it doesn't, quite naively, whereas another character like Fatima might say, actually, it does train it, and it gets trained in Silicon Valley in California. So what are the implications for the data? Concept cartoons are a really rich way to get students considering different opinions and how AI infiltrates different parts of their everyday life.